Now we are here with teacher Oscar Pacheco, who is an English teacher of here at the Purple P, and also a witness of this tragic event that was the earthquake of Mexico that happened 2 months ago. So, teacher, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
So, we're going to start. And as you see, and as we were saying all the time as Mexicans, we just have a bad perception of ourselves. I mean, that saying that the worst enemy of a Mexican is other Mexican. I mean, you have heard that before, but I mean, on that earthquake, that tragic event, we have seen a different personality that maybe we have not seen from years ago or even never we have seen. So, I mean, my first question is, how did you use to describe a Mexican before the earthquake?
I think that before the earthquake, society was divided. People were thinking a little bit on themselves, and although they cared about most of the problems that we have in the city, they hadn't shown up like this sense of being integrated as a whole.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, it is a divided society. I agree with you about that. But I mean, let's go back to the moment when the earthquake was happening, and then everyone was scared. I mean,
well,
continue.
Right after the earthquake, I would say that many people were shocked because the magnitude of the event hadn't struck them. So they were like, oh, there was an earthquake, something happened, but it was until everything was coming out in the news, in the media, in the social networks. That was the real moment when the enormity of everything, of the event, struck people.
So, and particularly that on social media, that is what the next question is for. I mean, when the earthquake was happening, everything was like, oh my God, it's just an earthquake. But the serious situation was when we saw on social media and the news, the all damage that have done the earthquake. I mean, buildings that are just near to fall, or people dead, and that tragic situation. I mean, how did you feel when you noticed the damage that the earthquake did?
I felt shocked because it affected especially the places which I frequent, places where I work, near the place where I live, and I think that being near or in a disaster zone was the turning point for many people that never had experienced a situation like that before.
Yeah, and we could see we have some elder people that also have been part of the last earthquake that were 32 years ago in 1985 and have experienced something like that. But I heard that some of them, they said that we could get out from the situation easily because that was something that happened. I don't know, similar in that, but I mean, numbers were different, affected people were different, but also more buildings were damaged. But I mean, the point that I'm going now is, do you think that we could keep moving forward besides the earthquake? I mean, that situation that most of the buildings that you frequent were damaged, or you can pass, I don't know, to the big avenue, well, the big streets, and you see that situation. Some people scared, afraid of what's next. So, what do you think? What do you thought on that moment?
Well, I would consider that our society needs like this prevention culture, because we live in a seismic zone, and that's not going to change. I think that maybe 10, 15 years ago, there was this strong culture of prevention, of having drills and everything, but it was slightly taken away, or maybe not taken away, but that slightly decreased. And and now we faced again reality that we lived in a seismic zone and everything. So we need to get that again, get that thing, that prevention culture, that thing with having drills, that thing with having having the safety zones well delimited and located in a building, that everybody knows and is conscious of what to do and how to react in the case of one of these scenarios that is like disastrous.
So now, as we could say, that terrifying things that happened before, and now let's talk to something that for me was emotive, was exciting. You know that. Well, when the earthquake happened, all of Mexicans have like gathered so as a society. As we said before, it was divided, but now it was everything was one that is Mexico. When they were giveaways, well, from I don't know, someone wants to need something, tools, some hands to help other people that was stuck in a building, everyone was there, and nothing nothing has like left. So that is what I'm talking to you about. That gathering as a society that is now, and as I told you before, is not nothing that we see every day. It's pretty awesome, when you saw that on the news that people were singing the anthem as they were helping people that were stuck too. That moment for me was amazing. So how did you feel when you see that most of the people were gathered and help everyone who needs it at the moment?
I felt proud because it was a feeling that hadn't been around in our society. So yeah, well, in spite of the tragedy and that there were many casualties, I would consider that the social media, social networks played a very important role in gathering this society, because many people had this discomfort with traditional news, with traditional media, with many television programs and everything, that they didn't form as well as social media did. So I think that contributed most at this sense of something happened, we need to help because we are on our own. I think that was the general consensus of why people went to help, that why everybody went to help, and I feel really proud of it, of those moments. I would say that in the aftermath there have been some situations. Many people have been complaining about corruption and everything, but I would say that in the moment where the tragedy was happening, I felt proud of seeing everybody helping. Proud of seeing like many of these people that were considered the millennial generation, that they were careless or selfish, or they only think about themselves. They proved everybody wrong.
Yeah,
because everybody was there helping, and many young people and many of the youth, they were there, and that's something that I feel really proud about.
Yeah, on that point I agree with you. Most of the people, and we could see on the media, that's why teenagers were there, and they were with the, I don't know, that feeling to being part of a nation and help the other one, I don't know, without searching someone about it's not like feedback, but I mean just to help it because he lives in the same city as me. So after that, for me, it's like disappointing that those kind of events, disasters, have to happen to make see this face of the Mexican that notice that selfish guy with only things with himself. I mean, do you think that the attitude that Mexicans presented will remain among the years, or it will be just ephemeral?
I think it can be preserved. However, I would say that it takes into account a lot of effort from everybody, because it's not what society showed is that there are values, there is this feeling of helping the other, but it has to be maintained. And we have to be perseverant of that. If not, that's gonna fall down into oblivion. So, yeah, I would say that we have to be working constantly on that.
So I think that's all. So thank you so much, teacher.
Thanks
so
to you.
now we're going next.
Okay.
Thank you so much.